Yo, paranormal peeps, what's happening? Richard Oliver here. Now, I am going to tell you in this video about demons. And I'm not going to give you the biblical terms from or different cultural references. I'm going to give you my own opinion of my experience of said things through my work in the paranormal. For the simple fact is, the stories are not always the same. Like Lilith, for example, you might have all heard that name, but that is based more in folktale than fact, or religious text. Now, I'm going to tell you from my own opinion because I've experienced them for myself, and they come in different shapes and sizes, different forms, from different eras, different planes. And I can't give you the answers to where these things originate because I just don't know, to tell you the truth. They are, like I said, old, and they are smart. They use psychology, and they think about the things they do. And I've experienced them on numerous investigations. I would say about 20 times in a 20-year career, nearly 20 years, and it's roughly about 20 times I've experienced what you would class as a demon. Now, they are the kinds, how would I put this? They feed off our negativity. They don't create our negativity. They just feed on it. So they will affect you for things like when you look in the mirror and how you feel in your own appearance, because that can be quite a wallless prison. They'll affect your mood, like when you're sleeping, your dreams, and they will affect your social circle. They will affect you in your home until they build up to such things like fear, because fear is a powerful negative force. Fear will make you do some pretty balmy things. Now, I can only tell you that through meditation and my research in the paranormal, I believe in God. I believe in a universal thought that was before creation that thought up this universe and wanted to experience life for itself in the truest sense of the word. And in doing so, you create free will. You have to have light and dark, good, bad, evil, love. And you, unfortunately, are left with a conundrum if you do create these things, because one will always want to take precedent over the other, and it is usually evil. Dark wants to influence light, and if you don't have a means of controlling this, then it's all for naught. One will take precedent over the other. Now, like I said, these things can attach themselves to people who are generally not nice. They can't influence the devil, can only persuade. It's you that acts on it. So they can put ideas in your head and they will follow you whilst you go around doing evil. But that is all they do. Because there has never been an evil act in all my life I have ever witnessed that wasn't done by man. And if you look at things like Satan, Lucifer, the devil, the manifestation of evil in its purest form, that is still man. Because man will kill for power, money, pleasure. And that, in its very nature, is the most evil act there is. Now, we all go through our daily lives, wandering around, trying to fit in, trying to find a purpose, trying to be loved or liked or something. And it seems that through all history, we have never found common ground. In any religious text or in any form of a biblical sense, there has never been a common ground. Everything has been done to divide. Because you'll have people out there who say that God or some deity who is manifested as God on earth says that being homosexual is bad, being of a different colour is bad, having a different mindset is bad. And trust me, you are not on the side of good if you act in that way. If you hurt someone because you believe the Bible tells you to, you're not doing that for God or Jesus. Same as the Quran, same as any book that tells you to do harm to others. There is only one rule, and that is love. And I teach my investigators this, if I have new ones, that love is the most powerful force there is. So is life energy and spiritual energy combined, because these things are never going to be as powerful as us, ever. Whatever they are, however old they are, or their origin, or how they were made. And we can see these things everywhere right now. They are in everything. They're in racism, they're in homophobia, they're in the stories that are saying the left is evil and the right is not. They're in things like, well, this isn't actually a joke, but in the Tory party, they're in the opposition that you have right now. You look at Biden, I mean, wow. If you've watched videos on the way he interacts with children, it's beyond wrong. You know, I mean, let alone the fact the man has the IQ of a squash peach and the sexual desire of an otter, which isn't good for human beings as a rule, let alone a president. And yes, you have Trump on the one hand, who is a little bit, he's tried to build walls around people, he's a little bit sexist, and he comes across as a bit of a plank. But he is trying to take down the deep state, where darkness at the moment seems to be dwelling at its most ferocious. And you'll see it in society that on the other side of the wall to you, your neighbour is a stranger. We are divided. And this in its very essence is negative. And there are forces at work who are trying to make this so. We have no common ground, people. Myself, for example, I'm a medium. And most Christians that I have met said that I am communicating with the devil. That when I tell someone that Auntie Anne is in heaven and she is with God and she is good and she loves them and she wants them to do well and don't make the same mistake she did, no, apparently that is the devil trying to trick said person, which has never ever made sense to me. Now, you'll see it with things like exorcism. Yes, there are things written in books from the past. If you look at the Seal of Solomon, and if you go down that road into demonology, and if you look in the Bible, you will see there are things to combat demons, but they only work on faith. Any divination tool only works on the power you give it. So when you sage, if you sage someone's property because we believe there's negative energies there, it's the power you put in the sage that gives it its real strength. It's the belief in it. If you believe it works 100%, it will work 100%. And that is the same for anything to deal with these forces, your belief. If you believe 100% in love, and you hold love dear in your heart with all you have, you can't be messed with by these things. You can't be touched. They cannot affect you. These things are looking for your mindset, so they'll affect the way you look in the mirror, and they'll push. They can't force, they can only push. The devil can never tell you to do anything. It's you that acts on it. And I've come across these quite a few times, and usually it's because somebody has been through something quite dramatic and negative, and they've come in contact with someone who is quite negative, and these things have jumped ship. Now, I know, like I said, they're ancient and they're smart, and like you will see if any of you have looked into psychology, if you're leading a conversation and people are listening and you fold your arms, the rest of the group will start to fold their arms. We mimic. That is the nature of us. We are quite easily led. And I call them sheeple, but people will follow a crowd. This is what happened with the stuff that's going on in the world right now. They were hoping that we would be sheeple. Unfortunately, social media showed us another way. We found an alternative, and the truth got skewed. And if you look at the world, like I said, right now, it does seem that evil is taking a precedent over this world, because the world has changed forever as we know it, and we are more and more divided. And we do need common ground, and the common ground we have, peeps, is love. Whoever says it is, whatever message there is, love is our common ground, and love is the only way to get through this. Because any other way, you are just creating the world you are trying to escape. And I think these beings were here first. These negative energies, as we call them in the paranormal, because it's no good saying to someone you have a demon in your home. It's going to ruin your day. So we just call them negative energies. And you can focus on pure love. The love you have for someone, the love you have for friends, or any kind of love that you have ever experienced or wish for yourself. You focus on that. That is your shield. It is the most powerful force there is. It fears nothing. It doesn't fear loss. It doesn't fear pain. It doesn't fear death. True love fears nothing. Negativity, on the other hand, fears it all. Fears loss. And if you look at the way our society is, and those we place in charge of it, they do, as a rule, genuinely seem void of love. And I'll give an example. If you send people to war, and you classify them people as a number, that changes the aspect of what you've really done. And if you create or send people for any kind of war, for any reason, that changes you. And if you go through an experience like that, where you go to another part of the world and kill for any reason, whose game do you think you're playing? Do you think that's God's? No. Anything you do, and you can say God before it, but if it's evil, guys. That's whose side you're on. Fact. I know I've just said you can't. God will never, ever ask you to do evil things. I don't care what it says in the Bible. That's got man's hand in it. There is truth in the Bible. You have to find it. And the truth is the true spirituality of us. And it's in there. You just got to really look for it. True love and spirituality. It's in all books. Anything negative doesn't come from God. It comes from man. It's man's interpretation of what they think God wants. And it's easier for you to deal with these negative thoughts, or if you're going through anything, I mean, like mental health or addiction of any shape or form, you just believe in love. It's different for me because, unfortunately, I put myself in the line of fire when I do the paranormal. Negative things, negative forces, negative energies or beings don't like it when you're trying to throw love around. And they will, at their best, if you're throwing that around publicly, try and mess with you. But that's all they can do. You can't physically cause these things. You just act on the will of others to make negative situations happen to you. And how you deal with these things is what defines you. You can either let them eat you up and change the actions of you, or you just look at them in their entirety, sum them up, think about them logically and with love, and you cannot be affected. Made it sound easy. Sometimes it's not that easy, because as most of you will know, just trying to hold positivity in your life for a week is nigh on impossible in the world we live in. And you will see that from anything, from the people you interact with, driving a car, anything. Try and hold just pure love and peace in your heart for a week. The world doesn't allow for it. Now, to spot these things, if you are going through something paranormal, or you've just gone through something traumatic, and you feel like you want to cause harm to others or yourself, pretty sure there's something there willing you to. And this goes across the board for all situations you may face that are negative. It could be anything, right? It's only going to make that situation worse if you take that road. And I'm pretty sure that there is something there willing you to, trying to influence you. Can't make you. When you see things like possession, that is special circumstances. Like myself, I have word blindness, dyslexia, or somebody might be autistic, or have Asperger's, or be on the spectrum. That is what allows possession. Could even be that your family in the past made a pact or a deal with something, because that can happen. A bit like arranged marriage, not as nasty, but the outcome can be quite the same and just as dreadful. And if you change the way you feel about said situation, these things will just leave. They have no influence, they have nothing to feed off. If you hold love in your heart, they're gone. There's no reason to be there. And if you believe in your own self and your own ability and your own power, you can just move them on with a thought. But as it stands, they're there. They're out there. But like I said, they don't do the evil. That's on us. They just feed from it. And they just enjoy it. And they get pleasure from it. Because that is 99% them. So yeah, that is it, guys. Demon. That is what I believe they are. That is what I believe they do. And if you look at the channel, you'll see we've talked about them in the past. I can't prove this. I can just tell you from my own experience. As you will have seen me said many a times, Spirit always say, don't make the same mistakes they made. Don't. Because it just leads to a bad place. And it leaves you with a hole in your soul. And if we come together, we find common ground, which, like I said, is love. We can win this thing. We can put the right people in charge. We can change the mindset of those who use their power to do wrong. And we can protect the innocence of this world. And if there is going to be a reset, it can be on our terms. We are the one that decides what is said next for humanity. So yeah, I don't know if that answered any questions, guys, but that's my take on what negativity and the forces around us are up to, what they do, how they look, and what their agenda is. But think about it, guys. If you have any questions, I'll try my best to answer them. But yeah, that's the gist of it. Hold love in your heart. Be surprised. The extra day can do so much, and you won't stand a chance. There we are, guys. Love and light, power peeps. I will see you in the next video.